Zach from Team Crimson here, bringing you my Nova Grappler deck post Light of Salvation, Logic of Destruction. So we got our new Beast Deity support finally. Been waiting for over a year, obviously. And so obviously we're just going to start off with the starter. You have to play this. You can't go and play Battle Riser anymore. This is the new starter you play. Grade 3s are looking like 4 Azures. Now, his skill is the one placed, counterblast, draw a card, call a card from hand, attack with it immediately, and if it doesn't hit, restand, so that's pretty nice. And then his second skill to counterblast and stand a rear guard when he attacks during the battle phase. So the main combo that I like to do with this deck happens to be with grade 2. Everybody should know Black Tortoise. Otherwise, pretty sweet card. You have to ride him. It's basically ride him or die. Even you can ride the next grade 3, but you almost have to consistently ride him repeatedly throughout the entire game, or you do virtually nothing. So ride or die, Azure. Then we got 2 copies of Incise. This card is beast. As soon as this card was revealed, it was just immediately like you knew that this deck was going to be better. This one is when he attacks, counterblast, and you stand all rear guards on additional rear guard circles. So, awesome finisher. So usually, yeah, like I was saying, you ride multiple copies of Azure, do his skill throughout the game, and then, like as a last turn, you ride into Incise. You only need to ride him once, and then most of the time they're dead, because by then you can have 2 to 3 Excel circles at your use, and then obviously the 2 front row rear guard circles to attack with. And then finally we got 4 copies of Maximum Riser. So this card, I like him a lot, but the reason I play him is because this deck still lacks in numbers. The high attacks, it just can't get up there without Maximum, or there's Jack too, but it almost needs this card. Until Luminal comes out, this is the card you almost have to run it at 4 in order to actually draw it and make use out of it multiple times. Just that raw power, being able to swing for 22, 32. I've gotten up to like 57 even, using like King Sword. So he's just a beat stick. You definitely need him. Play him at 4. Then for the grade 2s, running 4 copies of Black Tortoise. This is the one that you usually do the most combos with. This one is ride Azure, you draw the card. This one you call to an additional rear guard circle. Swing at your opponent's Vanguard. If it doesn't hit, restand. So most of the time they'll take the attack. And then he has a skill, which is the Counterblast Soul Blast. He stands, attacks your opponent's Vanguard immediately, and then if he doesn't hit, he stands again. So immediately, I play 4 of it for now, just because the fact that that combo is pretty nice. It pushes for damage. And late game, if you have that many counterblasts, you can do his skill, and he just guaranteed restands. It's pretty fun. My favorite grade 2, 4 copies of Jack. Absolutely nuts. I love him so much. He gains the 10k during your turn. Only problem with him is the fact that he cannot stand during the stand phase if he's on rear guard. So usually, I feel like I usually don't rush, just because the fact that he can't stand, unless I have a play specifically using like a Scarlet Bird to restand him. Most of the time you use him, you can swing at him on an Excel circle. He's 29. But the nice thing about him too is the fact that you rest your rear guards and you stand him. So it helps with the Scarlet Bird combo too. Even if you do his skill, you rest the 2, you can still just call out Scarlet Bird, stand those 2 that you rested, and then you draw that card off his skill. But yeah, he basically sets up your combo play with Scarlet Bird. Just nice card. Just the fact that he hits for numbers is just awesome. And then 3 copies of King. He's another one that fixes numbers for you. I play him mainly because Force is probably this deck's biggest weakness. Because if they get triggers during your main phase attacks, you can virtually do nothing. That it lacks in power. So you almost need to keep running King. I know some people do run refilling, but personally I think 2 of your rear guards getting 5k and the fact that if you really need to, you can still call this grade 2 rush. And again, it's just being able to split power where you want to 2 places is nice, including to him. I think that's why I play it, and I only run 3 just because Jack still gains his power, and you don't need to have 4. You see him enough at 3. And then just the 1 copy of Boomerang. This deck is super Counterblast heavy. Not so much Soul Blast heavy. There are some cards that add cards to Soul other than this card. But the deck is incredibly Counterblast heavy, so I play him at 1 just to make sure that I can get some counter charge options without having to retire Claydol, because retiring can definitely slow you down. Claydol is a great card, but I just play him at 1 just because the fact that I can on-place counter charge and I can start my plays immediately after that. Then moving on to grade 1s, running the 4 copies of Scarlet Bird. This one just nuts. It's your immediately against Murakumo. This card just helps because it stands all of your units. All you gotta do is call it Soul Blast 1. Call Soul Blast 1. All your units stand if you stood 2 or more. If you have White Tiger in, then you draw a card. So that's definitely really helpful. And it's so easy to pull off with this build. Just the fact that you have so many cards that either attack during main phase or that rest themselves, and then you can do his skill. It's super easy to pull off. Super awesome. Then 4 copies of the new Countercharger Claydol. I missed this one too. This one definitely improved. He's pretty awesome. The on place, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand or rearguard circles, and rearguard circles total, I mean, then you draw a card. So pretty awesome. Late game, it's pretty nice because I know I've drawn him like last minute, my final turn, or it has to be my final turn. I'm left with virtually no rearguards. I draw him, and then I'm safe because I call him to the Excel circle that I have, draw a card, and then call something else to attack with. So that's 2 attacks for no reason. But mainly you use him for his secondary skill, which is the when you counterblast, you retire him to countercharge. So he's pretty nice. Just the fact that you can countercharge with him and it's an optional thing, I think that's pretty sweet. But just again, option that you can draw a card if you have a low amount of cards in your hand and field. It just gives you options, which is something that I feel like Nova's deserved for a very long time. Then we got, finally, 3 copies of Shout. I don't like this card. I'm going to say it. I don't like him, but the deck has to run him because you want cards that rest during the main phase, so you can use Scarlet Bird's skill to restand them. So this card can be useful. He definitely can be useful, but the problem that I run into is the fact that it's based on top decking. Me as a player, I don't like that. You top deck triggers, and your opponent top decks combo-based cards. They get their combo-based cards. You lose a good card into your soul. So, I mean, otherwise, if you get really lucky and you keep top decking grade 3s, combo pieces that you need, and your opponent gets super unlucky and keeps throwing triggers into soul or something, then he's good. Otherwise, he's too inconsistent for me, and I don't too much like him. But that's why I only play him at 3. He's there if I need him for certain combo-based plays, or if I need to see if I can go for extra cards in hand. So then, finally, trigger lineup. I run 4 copies of Red Lightning and 2 copies of Shining Lady, so 6 crit. I run crits just because I feel like, based on the deck doesn't have numbers, and I know that, and I've seen profiles that play the obviously front triggers, but me as a player, I think crits are more aggressive, and me as a player, I am more aggressive, and I don't like to rely on, if I get a front trigger, then all of my units in the front row, they gain power. That's nice. But some of my attacks, when I attack with rear guards first, then the front trigger doesn't seem to have as much effectiveness as it could with replaced with a crit. So, like, for example, if my 2 front row rear guard circles attacked, and I leave myself with 1, and maybe I don't do Azure, I attack with Azure, and then this rear guard circle and the additional rear guard circle is the only one left in order to give trigs to or stack anything to. And so if I get Excel, or why do I keep saying that? front triggers, then I only have 1 to 2 units max to actually give that power to, is what I'm saying. So I think crits are just better to stack onto cards like Maximum or Jack to add that power and additional pressure with the critical. Then additionally, I run obviously the 4 PG draws and then the 2 3 minutes. So that's 6 draws and then the 4 heals. So basically that's kind of it. I just think the deck still needs work. I still think it's fun. It's pretty nice. And when you get super lucky, the deck will work and it can win games. It's definitely an improvement. But hopefully you like the profile. Hopefully, you can comment whatever you want. Please comment, actually. Give me your insight on your deck profiles. And please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.